What's up, everyone? Okay, so today's topic is how to debate. Okay, so I have been basically taking down people on Facebook and Instagram and constantly debating with them and commenting. I love it. It's like fun to me. And I just assume that people know how to make their points. But a lot of people message me and they're like, how do you debate? How do you actually do what is required? How do you take down someone's points? And it is difficult. I get it, and it doesn't come naturally to most people like it does to me. So let's go through how I debate. I'm going to explain to you how I debate. This is not the Oxford level of debate or anything that I have read on the internet or anything. This is just how I do it. So the basics of debate, according to me, are this, right? Always go by the other person's logic. Never use your logic. Always see what the other person wants. So how do we do this? Right? Firstly, get as many data points as possible. Let the person finish their argument, okay, and ask them questions. As like keep asking them, okay, what do you think about that? And what about this? Okay, but what about this within that? All that you have to just keep asking questions and let them talk, let them talk. Most people are very illogical because they are driven by feelings, they are driven by emotions, they are driven by beliefs, okay, and worst, they are driven by society. So what happens is that they will keep talking in that emotion, trying to convince you, and then that is when you find logical fallacies in their point, right? Then you note down those logical fallacies, okay, and then start questioning their logic. Then you're like, boss, but this doesn't make sense. See, you mentioned this, right? But what about this? Doesn't this go in your hypocrisy? Like, would this? How does this make sense in this particular context? Always ask them to define. Like, if they say you are selfish, I'm like, okay, but define selfish. You tell me what selfish is, and then you can take their argument on them. And in fact, if they call you an adjective, okay, you accept that adjective, but you say that they are worse. For example, if they call you selfish, right, and you ask them, okay, define selfish first, then they'll define selfish, and then you'll be like, okay, I am selfish, yes, because I live life according to my this, but you have reproduced, you have made a helpless being, okay, and then you are expecting it to live life according to you. Who is selfish, me or you? Who is more selfish, me or you? That is the real question. So you accept what they are saying, it's okay, but always remember that you have to say that, okay, but you are a bigger hypocrite. Maybe I am this, maybe I'm that, and in fact you can question the premise of the question. You can say, what is wrong with being selfish? At least I'm selfish for myself. My selfishness affects me, but your selfishness affects your child. You know. Okay. Now, so fourth issue: question their logic. Okay. What happens is now they will start changing goalposts. When you question their logic, they will constantly be like, oh, but no, but this is how I feel, and this is what I believe. Then you have to say, keep boss. Are we talking about logic? Or are we talking about emotions? Are we talking about beliefs? You have to say that. So if you are in the realm of beliefs, then we'll have a different kind of argument, a different kind of debate. But if we are in the realm of logic, then I have won. If they've started talking about beliefs, if they started talking about feelings, then you have won in the realm of logic. Okay. Now, another number 5, accept things that you don't know. If you don't know something, for example, you don't know whether God exists or not, just say, I don't know. The fact is, you don't know. Most of us do not know, right? So if they are saying no, but what about God, and you have to keep asking them, how do you know? Because I don't know. You have to be that how do you know? Because I don't know. So when you accept that, they'll be like, oh, this guy is human, like what? And they get very confused because most people they refuse to accept that they don't know. People are either theists or atheists. How do you know? How do you know you don't know? If you don't know something, keep the argument in that realm. Okay. Now, number 6, question feelings deeply. Any feelings. I mean, if someone says, "Oh, I feel this," and it just feels right, you have to be like, okay. At that moment, when you're feeling something, what exactly do you feel? I really want to know what you feel, and just describe the feeling and ask questions about that feeling, like what exactly is happening in your head, what exactly are you thinking, because you know what, most feelings are simply thoughts, and they are thoughts redirected into the realm of feelings. So if you question them, you'll realize that all those feelings are simply those people's biases, and you have to convince them that it is your bias that is working out here. Okay. Now, number 7, Yes, but. Okay. Now, when people make one argument, it's a very famous argument. They say science will progress fast enough to stop climate change, and it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not. I call it hopium. I'm saying it's not possible, but let's assume it is a possibility. You assume it is a possibility. You say it is possible, but you have to question whether humans will respect that. Humans will abuse the environment even faster and more exponentially than science has the power to neutralize that. So always your yes but should be very important. Now, number 8, the crux of debate is asking the right questions. Okay, most people think my logic versus that person's logic. Do not think of it like that. Do not think of it. Always remember, debate from the other person's point of view and try and understand what their logic is. And within that logic, find fallacies and then question them. So your point of debate should be actually trying to understand that person's mind. Do not try and prove yourself right. Do not try and say, this is my argument is perfect. It may not be, but you have to understand that person's mind. You have to deconstruct the person's mind completely to try and understand what they are thinking. And when you understand what they are thinking, you will learn something new. Okay, and if the person doesn't learn something new, that's not your problem. Also, accept number 9. Accept new points. If there are new points and something makes sense to you, then accept it. They're like, yeah, I agree with this specific point. But that does not mean, you have to be very clear, that does not mean you agree with the entire argument. Okay, you have to take certain points, and things are constantly adjusting, just like your personality, just like your life. Things are constantly adjusting. Similarly, your beliefs, your thoughts, your argument can constantly be adjusted. So when you learn something from one argument, you can use that same thing in another argument. But be humble about saying that yes, I have learned. So many times when I've posted, people have put up objections, and I'll be like, no, but what is, I've had a debate with them and I agree with them. I've yet to find a good debate pro having a child, but overall there are so many other small philosophical thoughts that I just agree that okay, yeah, this is right. So constantly strengthen yourself. The entire point of any debate, in fact any conversation, it should be of strengthening yourself. It should not even be about the other person. It's about understanding what the other person wants. And when that happens, when you question the person deeply enough, when when you go deep enough into the psychology, you will find some logical fallacies. Everyone has, even I have. So if that person is willing to listen, great. If he's not willing to listen, great, you learned something. So entire point of argument, just understand yourself. Okay, to understand the person and to understand yourself in relation to that. And main thing is question the person, go deep enough. People don't go deep enough. When I ask them certain questions, they just don't understand. They're like, what? I've never thought about this. Like about themselves, I'm asking, and they don't realize. So they're like, oh, I'll have to think about it. Or maybe they've thought about it and they can't articulate it. So you have to keep doing that. Articulate, think. Okay, even within yourself, if there is a debate, constantly go with the logical fallacies. Oh, but how does this make sense? And how does that make sense? Right? And accept what you don't know. Learn what you think you can. That's it.